Hello, credits. I was expecting you. So, it's more Assassin's Creed 3. I do like the extra powers. They're quite fun. It's essentially Assassin's Creed 3, but they've obviously made some changes. There's tweaks to it, there's changes to it, which I do quite like. I do like the powers. I do like CEO being back. I would have liked to have seen Haytham. Like, even at the end, you could have had it be Haytham. Be that voice of... And I think twist it kind of similar to how Haytham would say it. You would be a better man than Washington. Take the apple. Protect your people. These kinds of things, which is probably how the apple would have twisted Washington in the first place. So that's kind of one thing that's a personal thing. I do really like Haytham. You may have noticed. I did like. I felt really bad for like Arnold and Putnam, because they're good people who you then kind of who are twisted and you kill them, and then it's kind of that moment of regret. But that's not really lingered upon, probably because these have been quite short. They've been one session each, about an hour and a half, between an hour and a half and 2 hours for all three, and because of that, you do kind of lose something. Like, you could have expanded this, and like that was one thing that really bothered me about the main game, is that it felt like you had two good games, or two good ideas for games, but you couldn't pad them out enough to make them full games, so you stitched them together. Like, what if you pushed the end of Assassin's Creed 3 a bit further, where you do actually fall out as Connor, you fall out with Washington, and then you both find this apple, and then boom, here you go, here's this, and you can then you could extend it a little bit, and each one of these three could be like one of the little sequences. And so you're talking to, so you deal with Arnold, and so have that moment of like, maybe, well, what's going on? Why did he suddenly change character when you killed him? I don't know, maybe like iron undoes the effects or something, because like Franklin was undone by an arrow? I don't know, I'm just guessing. Or maybe just as you're dying, the apple effect just kind of disappears. The ending raises a philosophical question, or philosophical and political question of, oh my goodness, that's a lot of violin ones, violoncello or a cello, I suspect. But it raises the question of, does politics the way we have it work? For example, in the UK, every 5 years now, now that the Conservatives, under the last Parliament, which was coalition, they set up the fixed-term parliaments of 5 years. So every 5 years, as an MP or as a Prime Minister, you're not really thinking about what you're going to be doing after those 5 years, because you may not have the position. And that raises the question of, is a king so bad given proper weights and measures? Or, beyond that, an elected president for life, for example, would probably be a way of saying it rather than king. So when you die, the next person's voted by the people, and they go into life. That then raises the question of, can you remove them should they end up being a terrible person? And I think there are so many questions and complicated ideas out of this, but the system we have at the moment, I mean, thinking about America and how much is spent in lobbying, and how much some politicians, most politicians, focus on dealing with big corporations, kind of bowing down to outside influence, so that they can get the money that they can spend on their campaign to get themselves re-elected. Whereas someone who is president for life wouldn't have to deal with that so much. But maybe they would if you're putting in those checks and balances that allow them to be removed. And how would you sort that out? Would you have a separate parliament? How would the Parliament interact with the presidency? There's so many different questions to this, so this is probably a terrible kind of idea. There's some problems in all forms of government, of course, and it's trying to work out which has the most positives and the fewest negatives. Admittedly, Washington's response at the end of this is characterful based on the game. I'm not sure about Washington in general. I don't know how many terms he had. It's like I'm not sure how many terms Washington had as president, or I'm not sure how long he was president for. But it does make sense in terms of the game's character for Washington, why he would react the way he would to being offered, being made king. He's seen what that power can do to him, which is why I made the point of needing proper weights and measures against a bad king. Oh, Daniel, probably he improvised, I'm guessing. How would you... I've just got distracted. Would he have accepted if it was presidency for life? There were all kinds of weird questions. If Washington were offered the throne, how would that work? And I think, yes, that was it, the proper weights and measures. So you need the proper weights and measures so that a king could be removed under certain situations. Should he take evil acts and overstep his bounds? But then again, you have to take into consideration that one of the problems we have in politics is that because of the short terms people stand for, if you take unpopular but I don't like the saying necessary, but it's the word that probably best fits it. If you take an unpopular but if you have an unpopular policy, but a policy that is for the betterment of the nation or the world, you won't get in, and you won't stay in. And so you have to take decisions that are popular rather than right, inverted commas. So there are all these kinds of questions. I mean, I'm babbling because I always babble over all the credits. I like going all the way through. But the issue, and there's not really much to say. I think the powers were quite good. The wolf one was very useful for me because I'm terrible at stealth. The eagle one was really good for kind of moving around quite quickly, which is kind of the point. I don't know why the wolf one was stealth. I understand having the wolf pack, that kind of fit, but I'm not sure how the wolf would be stealth. I would have expected something along the lines of fox, for maybe they didn't. And the bear was just that outright strength, which got used, kind of forced to be used quite a bit as soon as you got it, because you're getting one power for each section, and so you kind of want to spread. You don't want to kind of have that kind of even spread towards the end, because then you're going to have used the bear very, very much less than the other two, which I think is kind of a problem with having the kind of sequence the way they've done it. I don't know. I kind of would have liked it. Like, I mean, there were a few small moments where Connor would comment on the fact it wasn't right. Like meeting Zio. It's like, oh, you're alive? In this really kind of surprised way. It's kind of less so with Kanyen and Kantok, his friend who he stabbed in the main game. Kind of, oh, you're alive? How are you alive? Which raises the question of when did he get the apple? Because he must have gotten the apple, or the apple must be kind of having an effect before kind of before Connor left the village, because the village burnt down. So I don't know what's I don't know. Kind of an evil U.S. president invades Canada trope was kind of nearly gone into. Not really a trope. It's just kind of a thing that I kind of see happen, kind of imagine happening a lot in kind of TV and stuff. But I've completely lost my train of thought at this point. Yeah, I think more of an idea of when things are happening, and I think also Connor's reaction. Like, he doesn't call himself Connor, but he knows he's called Connor. It seems like this was kind of written almost in parallel. I don't think this happened, but this is how it comes across. It's almost in parallel with the other game, so that it was written without knowing stuff from the other game, so they kind of threw a few things in. I think I would have preferred it if it was more of a kind of, hang on, this isn't how things went, this isn't what's going on. But again, I think that's kind of an issue with how short these 3 episodes have been. I would have really liked it if these had been longer, and I think these are the Assassin's Creed 3 credits all the way through. Again, I think I would have liked more elements of meeting Mr. Faulkner and being like, I know you're the captain of the Aquila. Or maybe a little kind of silly thing where he tries to explain to you how to sail the ship, and then Connor's like, oh no, I already know this, you've already taught me this. Another kind of little weird music, and other kind of little things like that, where it would just little kind of nods to the audience of this isn't real. Even in game, this isn't real per se, from Connor's perspective. Which I mean, and I mentioned it in this session, is going to thinking about Dragon Age Inquisition. Is it was referenced in like a very short little section. This isn't real. That kind of point of, this isn't real. And then Liliana's like, this is real to us, kind of, which is why I didn't actually say that. But she did say this is real to us. This year has been real to us. And I think they could have made that. They could have gone into that a bit more. And I think that's kind of the frustrations I've been having with kind of Assassin's Creed 3 is there's been some good ideas that they've not touched on, and there's been some kind of really kind of there's been some real problems with the game that they've lingered on. Like, I mean, how long was the tutorial? You were doing a tutorial with Haytham for a while, then you switched to Connor and you were getting taught things, then you got the Aquila and you're being taught things, and you're being taught things, and then there's all these different things. It's just like, oh, that definitely is. Yeah, you've got Haytham there. Adrian Huff. I should look into him. Kanyenton. No, that's a different person completely. So, oh my goodness, we're about to get all this text. All the voice talents. Now, we didn't hear these guys because we only heard the English version, of course. This episode actually has been the glitchiest thing in that I've played for a while in Assassin's Creed. Actually, probably ever. It took me 3 or 4 attempts. Getting into to actually start this episode. It just crashed and crashed and crashed. And then, of course, we had the cart fiasco, where I just kind of fell through a hole in the earth, and then apparently left the area. Which I'm assuming it means, instead of area, it means volume, but I suppose that's harder to discuss, really. It implies that you might fall through the earth. Or go up higher. I assume what happened is that the cart kept going on, and I obviously wasn't moving forward because I was falling down to the core of the earth, and those kinds of things. So yeah, we've had a few problems with this. Overall, I kind of enjoyed this. I think I was thinking about this in terms of DLC, and I mentioned it towards the end, and then kind of backtracked, which was that, go on, brain. I know you're working. Which is the DLC in this in the Assassin's Creed series is often written to be in a certain position. So, for example, the Benedict Arnold stuff is written to be after your kind of breakup with Washington. It's I mean, that's the point. He mentions it. I can't remember what battle it was. It began with an N, but I can't for the life of me remember what it is. And you could have just so it opens up much earlier. It's like, well, what's the point? Just open up when it's storyline meant to open up, and maybe you have to, if you've got the DLC, you have to do that bit of DLC. It's a bit of storyline, and then you go into the next thing, and then you go into the main quest. I think that would work a lot better than the way it's done. I mean, I had this problem with where I got really frustrated with the Da Vinci disappearance in Brotherhood. It's like, oh, this is a memory from a different time period, so why am I playing it now if it doesn't fit in here? If it fits in after the end, put it after the end, kind of the way this does. I think actually the way this ends is very much a kind of wrap-up thing, unlike the Da Vinci disappearance, unlike the Benedict Arnold stuff, which is a separate kind of, which is kind of it can slot in to the main game. It's what it was written for. This one was very much, you can tell by the end, written to be its own thing, and it's got that wrap up that I really like. The kind of the guy is a projection from the apple. Probably is kind of make yourself king and, you know, go and pick me up kind of thing, which is kind of interesting. And I'm running out of things to say. But I would have quite liked, or maybe in the ending cutscene, have Haytham appear to Connor. Again, I want more Haytham. I think he appears in other games, so we'll be all right. Just like he could appear to Connor at the end and just be like, "Are you sure you want to throw this away? This is a chance you can use this to save your people, to protect your people. You could use it to do this. You could protect your people. You wouldn't end up like Washington." These kinds of things. I did like the fact it's talking about Assassin's Creed 4. That will be coming at some point. Just kind of like, oh yes, my grandfather was a sailor. So obviously at that point he knows about Haytham. Then thinking about it, so he knows about Haytham. Like weird, no comment about him at all. I mean, how did he find out? Actually, thinking about it. Obviously, it's a reference to the next game. But how does he find out about Haytham? Because in the first episode, he doesn't know anything. He doesn't really know anything about his father, I don't think. And Zio doesn't tell him anything. And then she dies. So how does he know that his grandfather was, what was it, Edward? I'm assuming with a name like Edward, I'm guessing it's Haytham's father. Why? Ooh, yeah, legal notices. Oh my goodness. I thought the legal notice was the end of it. You've got Haytham. I said I ramble and babble in the credits. You've got Haytham. Like, so he doesn't know anything about Haytham. How does he know about Edward? How would Zio? It seems like it would. And again, it's that little thing. Make it so that Zio dies, and then maybe when you're breaking out, your friend, find Haytham there, and he talks to you, and he sees something in you, and asks you, and talks to you, and he tells you about his family, and can you tell that I want more Haytham in these games? So, yes, we're kind of running out of things to say. Stupid credits. I always find this very interesting with DLCs. Like, they often don't write new credits. Like, they did this in Dragon Age Origins with some of the DLC. And so you're sitting there, it's like 20 minutes of credits. And that's what we're getting in this game, for the moment. Awful lot of credits. Because this is the Assassin's Creed 3 stuff, it's not the Tyranny of King Washington. The music's building up, so I'm guessing we're close to the end, although we may not be. Yes. I've no idea at this point. I might just let this run through, but then again, we've already let it run through once, I think. So, yeah. Needs more Haven. I would have loved the full game for Haven. But alas, that was not to be. We got like... But that discovery that he's a Templar, and then you play through the rest of the game as him, and you're just kind of like not sure what you're meant to be doing. And then you have Assassin's Creed 4 with Connor. Admittedly, you just push all the numbers back. The one other number. So you've got Haytham for a full game. You've got Connor for a full game on his own. And then you have Edward, and you got like this kind of Kenway trilogy almost, which there kind of is. So you've got this, then Assassin's Creed 4, well, Assassin's Creed 3, Assassin's Creed 4, and then you've got Rogue. But you have like Liberation and Freedom Cry kind of stuck in the middle. I'm not sure what I'm going to do order-wise. So this is something you can kind of comment on. If you've gotten this far, well done. Endurance. I'm umming and ahhing about whether to do Rogue or Unity first, because Rogue is the next Kenway game, but Unity is I think some people said maybe I should do Unity first, but I'm not sure. I don't know. That's it. Unity came out first, but Rogue, I think, from what some people have said, is the next thing in the kind of Kenway thing. I don't know the main characters in that. So you've got this, and then 4, and then it goes into Rogue. That was it. That's what I meant, Rogue. So I'm not sure whether I should do Unity or Rogue first. So special thanks. I'm guessing that's near the end. I don't like leaving midway through credits. I like watching all the way through. So I'm assuming we're getting quite close to the end, and then I can go and do something else. So yeah, it's been fun with Assassin's Creed 3. I think I'm looking forward to 4. Because, as I mentioned, I did really enjoy the kind of nautical aspects, and I think 4 is... Legal notices! Yes! We got through to the end! And I think 4 is pirates, so there's a lot more nautical stuff in it. Whereas in this game, it was kind of very much stitched on as kind of a... Oh, maybe we'll see what it does, and we'll kind of tag it on and see how people react to it. Like, which is probably similar to the thing in what was it? It was like the tower defense thing in Revelations, which just I'm guessing no one liked it. It was pointless. We only did it once anyway. 1 and 2. I can't remember any added things from 2 or Brotherhood or anything. And there we go. So we reached the end, and I got to the end of the credits. Hooray! I had things to say for most of it. But that was the Tyranny of King Washington. I hope you enjoyed it. I did. Next time, I'm not sure what we'll be doing. I'm not sure at all. You will find out in a couple of days. I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do next. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching all of this. I assume if you've watched this, you watched all of Assassin's Creed 3, so thank you for watching that as well. And I hope that you'll enjoy whatever comes next. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for watching.